The appointment. A dull, quiet waiting room, off-white walls, plastic chairs, a dusty plant in the corner. Christine, a blonde woman in her mid-thirties, sat alone tapping her foot nervously. The clock on the wall read 2:47 p.m. It had been stuck there for what felt like hours. The day had already been insane. First, her cat had acted strange, really anxious, almost like it didn't want her to leave. It hadn't been like that since she first found the cat, back when it was just a little kitten abandoned near her old apartment. Then when she tried to leave, her car had refused to start. Of course, she'd had to call a taxi in order not to be late for work, since she was scheduled to show an apartment to some clients. And the taxi driver, he was this middle-aged guy, super chatty, too chatty, wouldn't stop talking. He didn't pay attention to the road. They'd almost hit another car. It had been ridiculous. She'd been so mad. She could barely focus on anything else after that. The clients never showed up, and when she tried calling, they didn't pick up. They could have at least let her know they weren't coming. It would have saved her the trouble of rushing around all day. Then, just when she thought she could breathe, she remembered she had a doctor's appointment. How could she have forgotten that? And now, here she was, waiting and waiting. It felt like forever. Christine shifted again, glancing at the empty hallway. The silence felt unbearable. She stood up and walked slowly toward the front desk. The receptionist sat there unmoving, staring blankly at the monitor. Christine cleared her throat, speaking nervously. "Hi, do you know how much longer it will be?" The receptionist finally glanced up. Her eyes were calm but empty. Her voice was unsettlingly flat. "You already saw the doctor." Christine froze, a wave of confusion washing over her. She stared at the receptionist, unable to process what was happening. The receptionist's face didn't change. It was clear she'd seen this moment so many times before, as if it was just part of a routine. Christine began to back away slowly, her mind racing. As she stepped back, she bumped into something behind her. She turned around, startled. It was the taxi driver, the same middle-aged man who had driven her earlier. Christine stared at him, her breath catching in her throat, eyes wide with shock. He was standing there, looking confused, like he didn't understand why he was there. A chill crept through Christine's spine, and the sterile hallway felt suddenly distant, like a place remembered in a dream, not one she was truly in. And in that instant she finally remembered. The blinding headlights, the screech of tires, the sickening crunch of metal. They hadn't managed to avoid the car. They had crashed. Badly. The kind of crash no one walks away from. Not alive, anyway. The birthday party. Peter had been to Dustin's birthday parties every year. Not because they were friends, but because Peter's mom and Dustin's mom were. Every year he brought a present. Every year Dustin unwrapped it with a smirk, made a joke and tossed it aside. Peter always smiled, always quiet, always watching. This year, Dustin was turning 12. The party was loud and full of life. Balloons, pizza boxes, soccer balls flying across the yard. Peter stood near the edge of the crowd, clutching a small, carefully wrapped box. When Dustin finally got around to opening it, the teasing didn't come. Inside was a sleek silver referee whistle, smooth, shiny, real. Hey, this is actually cool, Dustin said, sounding surprised. He clipped it onto his shirt and gave it a quick, sharp blow. Everyone laughed, even Peter. They ran outside to play again. For a while, everything was perfect, but soon Dustin began to cough, rubbed his eyes, waved it off, still laughing, still running. Then his mom called everyone back in. Cake time! Dustin blew out the candles while the crowd cheered. He took the first slice, a huge bite, then another, and then he stopped, gasped, cold, clutched at his throat, panic rippling through the room like fire. Dustin's mom dropped to her knees, shouting, "They said the cake was not free. I told them no nuts." Someone called an ambulance, but it didn't matter. By the time the doctor arrived, Dustin was gone. The party fell into stunned silence. Parents whispered, children cried. The cake lay forgotten on the table, half sliced. The music had stopped long ago. And Peter stood off to the side, quiet, still, watching. His heart wasn't racing. His eyes didn't blink. Dustin was severely allergic to nuts. They thought it was the cake. They'd never know. Peter had spent weeks looking for the right kind. A nut oil without smell, without taste. He had coated the inside of the whistle and the outside, just enough to cling to Dustin's lips, his fingers, and when he blew it, it had begun. Peter had planned it all, every little detail. Someone touched his shoulder. It was his mom. She wrapped her arms around him, pulling him close. Peter buried his face into her hug, shoulders shaking. To everyone else, it looked like he was crying, but beneath her embrace, he was smiling. "Happy birthday, Dustin," he thought.